makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
Oh, you know we need them. We need those strategies, don't we? Those strategies for living. So are you ready? Are you ready for your daily dose? Your daily dose of radio rehab?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Well, I think so.
Ready or not, here Jay comes.
Here he is. He's
I'm ready.
Hey,
Put
folks,
me in, Coach.
You're in. You're in. Hey, folks, welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. She is psychotherapist, PLPC Lauren Leon McMillian, and he is psychotherapist, PLPC Jay Murrell.
Good to be here.
And good to have you here. And, what I want to talk about today is recovery. Recovery from addiction is not, and it rarely is it just about stopping.
Right.
There's
No.
so much more. There's so much more. It's not just stopping
Just stop.
a
Yeah,
substance.
just stop.
it.
Why can't
Yeah.
you just
Just
stop?
stop it.
So many people, I mean, this is the mindset, isn't it?
That's Earth people.
Earth people. I love that. I love that you refer to them as Earth people. And
They're not addicts.
yeah. Addicts, the addict brain
It's different.
and mentality is very different. And so there's a lot of things that if you don't understand, it's an issue. I remember years ago, I had done an intervention, and it was a successful intervention. The person went to treatment, and I continued to follow this person. Wife was, so up on, I want this guy to go. But after he went, and she said in the first family group, she said, I liked him a heck of a lot better before.
That actually happens more
Yeah.
often than you'd think.
Yeah, and it comes from a lack of understanding of what really goes in. So let's dive in there today.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's dive into so what are some of the other issues? It's not just about stopping. It's so much more than that. Folks, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being with us here on Strategies for Living. And we appreciate our sponsors who make it possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing,
Roof.
Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, The Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, pretty good muffies too, SRT, Sales Training, Uprising, Addiction Center, and Mira, Direct Primary Care. Recovery, it's rarely just about stopping. It's so much more. We're diving in today here on Strategies for Living.
Lauren, Jay, and David will find a way to help you out most every day. They help us think healthy and make us smile too. They bring out the strategies just for you. Strategies for Living Radio. Strategies for Living Radio.
And welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, Jay Murrell, David McMillian. Recovery from addiction. It's not just about stopping a substance or stopping behavior. there's so much work, deep work, that usually involves things like rebuilding your identity, your life, regulating or learning how to regulate your nervous system, your support team and support structure. And because obviously you want to sustain healing over time.
Absolutely.
That's the whole idea. And so we're going to talk about some very important issues in recovery today. And, you know, the true story that I shared, the lady that had been instrumental in getting this guy into therapy, and she said in the first family group, I don't like him anymore. And she never came back to a family group. I mean,
Really?
After invitation and cajoling. Now, the guy got sober and I think did fine. The marriage didn't last.
Yeah, the dynamic changed.
Yeah, the dynamic changed. And
Well, I would wonder to some degree if that's not because, in a lot of ways, addiction is a relationship.
Totally. It's a family disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when there's an alcoholic or a drug addict in the family, everyone is affected,
right.
and people take on roles.
Yeah. Sure.
And
I'm glad you're saying that, Jay, because that's one of the things that the lady took issue with in that first group, because they were talking about that if you have been in relationship with someone in addiction, then you also need to do your work.
Right. It's
And
a family disease.
Right.
Yep.
And the lady took, she took issue with
The
that.
non-addict has a really hard time understanding the concept. Some don't.
Yeah.
Of how that's affected them, their personality, and
Right.
their role in the relationship.
Absolutely,
Right.
Absolutely. And so that's why, good treatment involves being open, again, an openness for everyone to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
And, learn how to do different, be different. That's adjustment, that's the adjustment. But obviously the first step is, how do I stop doing this? How do I stop the behavior? How do I stop the drugging? How do I stop the drinking?
You want my answer?
What's that?
I call it the just right ass whipping.
Okay. You unpack that for us a
Okay,
little bit.
I will. It's something occurs
Yep.
that finally breaks through drug addiction, the only disease that tells you you're not sick.
Right.
So it's that event, it's that occurrence that causes you to finally understand down to your toenails, I just can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
might be fear of loss of a relationship, a job, or just being sick and tired of being sick and tired all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because addiction almost always serves some purpose in the individual, doesn't
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It serves a purpose.
And so you got to ask, when you ask, how do I stop this? How do I stop this behavior? Maybe the beginning question is, what is this doing? What am I getting out, getting out of this?
And what am I avoiding?
Right.
That's another one
That's
I
a
would
big
add.
part. That's avoidance, I'd say, is a big reason. And we can
Right.
get, I think some of the stuff we're going to talk about gets into that in more depth. But not wanting to live life on life's terms, not wanting or avoiding living life on life's terms, avoiding situations. You see it in non-addicted clients
Right.
Sure.
who just don't want to go outside.
Right. Right.
I'm just going to go to bed.
Right. Pull the covers over my
Yeah,
head.
and they're
So-
not using. They're just they're watching
It's a different way to escape or run
and
away.
that's just a different
Right.
way to escape.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys are touching on this, because it's not a one size fits all. I
It's
mean, for
not.
some people, it's to numb pain. For some people, it creates a temporary relief from anxiety. Sometimes it fills the loneliness that somebody experiences. Sometimes it even gives a sense of control or belonging or confidence or even identity.
All of the above, especially you find this in a lot of folks. Starts with a lot of people around age 14 for guys in
Yeah.
the beginning of adolescence,
Yeah.
and they just never felt like they fit in. And then they discover alcohol usually, and
Yeah.
now it's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, man, they're handsome, smart, bulletproof, and everybody, it makes them feel equal too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just happen in adolescence. But
Yeah, it's also important to get a basic understanding. That's one of the first things that, after detox, if you need to go into treatment and you get free from the substance, whatever it is, whether that drug substance is alcohol or some other,
whatever it is.
yeah, because it's all affecting the brain.
Exactly.
And even if it's a behavior like gambling, that it's still a substance, because gambling or porn addiction, a lot of other addictions.
It's about what it creates in the
Exactly.
brain, the
internal,
substance
right?
that it
So
creates.
it's still, in a way, substance abuse.
Yeah.
I'll go along with that.
Yeah. So it's important to understand with compassion, not to excuse destructive behavior, but to understand it, to be open to understanding honestly, what this is about.
It's a disease, and you're just sick.
Yeah.
And fortunately, since the 1930s, in the development of that Alcoholics Anonymous,
Right.
It's come to be understood as a disease, and they're
And it fits that model, too.
well, it does. And before that, it was just it's a moral failing or lack of willpower or something.
Jay, as you know, and Lauren, you too, I've been doing this show a lot of years.
30, how many?
30, well,
This
we're
is the 33rd.
33rd year
Wow.
is when we're
We're
in.
almost to 34 in September.
And, so how many shows on addiction through that many years have I done? A few. And back in the day, as you know, Jay, we took phone calls. We
call
in it. We hit it live, and we didn't know what was out there. What showed up was what showed up. And I remember more than one call expressing and telling us, whether it was me or me and Altrin, me and Bob, me and Dixie, telling us when we talked about addiction is, you guys are out of, you're off your rocker, because this is just a weakness thing, or this is just a bad thing. And that's a lack of understanding, I think.
Or you call it ignorance.
Yeah, or ignorance of, what this is. Because again, it's addiction is progressive.
Yes.
It has definite stages.
Yes.
You can define the stage of a person's addiction. I mean, I bet you can do it almost with your eyes closed now.
Kind of, sort of.
Just getting enough information, and if this is stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3. So it's progressive. There are definitive stages, and unchecked, it's fatal. It will kill you.
Covered up, locked up, sobered up. But I've simplified it, David. The end stage is called you're pickled. And once a cucumber is a pickle, it can't go back to being a cucumber again.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I know.
No.
So we're cucumbers.
Yeah.
I mean pickles.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
And once you're a pickle,
And it's important to admit that.
It is. And once you are, there's no going back. In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, in one of the chapters, it talks about we're like men who lost their legs; they never grow new ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, there's all kinds of stuff scattered through that.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of times it begins, and this kind of, we touched on this a moment ago. It's often an attempt to solve pain, but it's a disease that's funny, because ultimately, even though I'm trying to get away from pain, ultimately it creates more pain in
It does.
life.
And when you avoid dealing with issues, do they go away? Well, sometimes. But Lauren, in your experience, people that are avoiding dealing with deadlines and family issues.
If you avoid things, it's going to come up and come out in very odd ways, very odd, ugly ways, but it will come out.
Yeah.
You can't keep it packed down, whatever it is.
And so, you can stop the behavior, whatever that behavior is. But if you don't understand the wound, the actual wound, then the suffering underneath
Doesn't go away.
And that sets you up to the possibility of using or drinking
It
again.
does. And of course, Uprising Addiction Center is
One of our sponsors.
and it's a great facility out
Yes,
there.
it is.
And
It's beautiful.
It is 18 acres.
It's like going out of
idyllic.
it's a luxury. It's like a
Yeah.
luxury treatment, but it's right here.
It's right here.
Yeah.
But yeah, people, and I have some involvement there, full disclosure, but people
Sure.
that go through 28 days or however long it is, some stay longer.
Right.
And it kind of plays into what you're talking about. It doesn't stop there. You get out, you test clean, but there needs to be something else.
Well, most good treatment is going to link you to, while it's going on, to resources that are going to be there.
And they certainly do.
For when when you are when that magic day comes and they tell you it's time. You're ready.
You graduated.
You graduated, yeah. And that's an important thing, but it's also important to do the follow-up.
It is, and Uprising has the most fantastic intensive outpatient program.
Oh,
led by.
You may know something about that.
Well, it's the best one in town, in my humble opinion. and even beyond IOP, there needs to be more. So there you go.
Absolutely. We're unpacking addiction today, trying to understand the multiple facets that go with the disease of addiction. Could be addiction to anything, any substance or behavior, and we're talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. Much more to come. We'll be right back.
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you wanna holler, get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies for leaving radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for leaving radio.
If you're looking, well, I hope you'll say, I've found them. They're right here, Strategies for Living Radio. And, it occurs to me, Lauren and Jay, that some people, because you know how we listen to radio, we catch 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. A lot of us listen in our cars. And so we may be touching on something today that a person says, hey, I really want blank to hear this. It's important.
And how might they be able to do that,
Well,
David?
I'm glad you asked that question because we're in podcasts.
Yes.
That's right.
So all you have to do is go to wherever you get your podcast, whether that's Apple or iHeart or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Go to the search, put in Strategies for Living. We're going to come up, and you subscribe to us. And there's, I don't know how many, Lauren,
Over
a couple of
100.
hundred
Yeah.
shows there. But that way you can pass on any program that you like. You can listen to more of a program if you caught a
right.
piece of it.
Stay caught up.
Okay, exactly. So I want to ask both of you something. Before we move on to the next thing I want to talk about a little bit is emotional regulation. But
Yeah.
we were talking about kind of in the last segment, and I want to put some icing on the cake. It really is about where healing begins. And so I'm gonna make a statement, and I'm gonna ask both of you to respond to it.
Okay.
Healing begins when curiosity replaces condemnation.
Yeah, like contempt prior to investigation is a problem for some people.
Yeah, yeah,
I've been guilty of that.
yeah. Aren't most? Don't you think a lot of addicts are? Most everyone.
Sure.
Yeah. There's a part of you that knows you want to stop and you want to quit and you need to, but there's another part of you that is so hard on yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you have to think that people don't get into an addiction which is self-damaging. They don't endure so much self-damage out of a place of great self-love.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so it's about being able to come to terms with that, recognizing that, and realizing that, maybe I need to shift the way that I see myself and others Because ultimately it's a connection issue. It's a connection and a relationship issue. And that all begins with the love, the relationship with yourself, the connection with yourself.
And that could be a long-term project.
Absolutely. It's a lifelong
And it is,
one, I think.
it is.
Hopefully.
It's a voyage of self-discovery, lasts a lifetime.
Yeah.
If you're a lifelong learner.
Yeah. And again, that's what our encouragement to everybody is. It's curiosity.
Yeah.
And healthiest stance we can take is to become a curious student.
Right. And to remember, anytime you get into a place of judgment, that immediately stops progress.
Judgment of others or judgment of yourself?
Any kind of judgment is an immediate energy block.
Yeah.
And it keeps you from growing.
I think a lot of people in recovery discover, and maybe this is surprising for some people, and even shocking for some people to discover, that they never really understood how to sit with difficult emotions safely.
Right.
So instead of processing sadness or calming anxiety or expressing anger appropriately or being able to tolerate discomfort, they would turn to some type of escape from it, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a lot of families, there may be some whole cultures who unintentionally teach emotional avoidance. Don't you cry or I'll give you something to cry about.
Yep.
Get over that.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Stay busy, push through it. But emotions that are buried don't usually
Go
disappear.
away. No,
Yeah, we just shove them down.
They reemerge.
Well, yeah, and often when they reemerge sideways.
Right. Yes.
So the sideways isn't a one size fits all. Not everybody that doesn't understand emotional regulation gets addicted. Some of them become control freaks. Some of them go into rage. Some of them emotional shutdown. Some of them avoidance. It's not a one size fits all.
Right.
Right.
But it's any way to deflect and to avoid, to skirt around the main issue, which is being able to sit with and understand the feelings that you have.
Yeah.
And to realize that you're big enough to hold them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Did you guys realize that you're trainers?
No, David.
You're trainers.
Yeah.
Because when people need muscle built up, most often, they may go to the gym and try to work out, but a lot of us go get a personal trainer,
Right?
Because to help us to understand the mechanics of how to do what we do and how to
in a safe place, right? A spotter,
right?
Somebody to sit with you and make sure that you're not lifting more than you can handle. Right, and to spot you if you need somebody to catch.
Oh, wait, we do some of that, don't we?
We do
Lauren?
a lot of that. I hope
y'all do. I mean,
I think that's one of the things people get surprised at most. Like the idea that this is a intense feeling, but being able to offer the idea you don't have to feel it all at once.
Yeah.
How can we create an environment where you can just let a little bit out at a time, so that it's manageable and it still is able to be processed in a healthy way.
Jay, I know that you've already had the experience of working with people because you do a lot of group therapy. And so I know you've had the experience already of people saying what a difference recovery makes in their life just by being able to name their emotions.
Yeah, talk about it. Pause
before reacting. Becoming more self-aware.
And becoming also in group, this comes out a lot. And of course, it comes out in 12-step meetings, but in group where folks are just coming out of treatment, to hear other people in the group talk about things that they've experienced in their lives, feelings they have, emotions they have, family dynamics that they've had, and it's invariable. The best groups are those that the group members start talking to each other, comparing notes.
Right.
They go, "Wow, I felt that."
Absolutely.
That universality. Right?
The universality of addicted people, and how so many of our experiences are just what somebody else has felt or seen or done.
There is power in understanding that you're not alone.
So totally.
So other people have had the same experiences or dealing with the same experiences. I don't have to go this alone.
Yeah.
Here's what I've heard before, and I might have said it. You know, I started going to these meetings, and I heard people tell my story, and it was such a relief to learn that I wasn't unique and crazy.
Yeah.
And that's just so, such a relief. And
Yeah.
it's sort of, gee, I'm glad I'm not weird and unusual. I'm just a drunk or whatever your addiction is.
I think though you're hitting on the idea of the original wound for most people,
Okay,
which is what
define.
we're talking about, that ability to regulate emotions, right? If you never had somebody model for you or be able to sit with you and help you to understand how can I regulate what's going on within me, it is isolating.
Yeah.
Because I think that's why often you turn to the drinking or the drugging, is because you don't have anybody there to help you to regulate.
Yeah.
Well, that's
right?
where the group comes in.
Yeah.
The group,
Exactly.
You can talk to somebody one-on-one, and nothing against counseling, but as a counselor, I'm not as effective in sorting out issues with someone who's in addiction as the group as a whole is,
Mm-hmm.
and sharing their own experience,
Greater
strength,
than
and
the
hope.
sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to put a plug in here, and I know you're probably reluctant to do this, but I'm not. Anybody can go to an AA meeting, anybody. And, my first AA meeting that I ever attended was in graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to many of them since, not because I had to go, but because I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Most AA meetings are what are called open meetings.
Most of them,
So-
and even closed meetings can be opened.
Yeah.
If someone,
Yeah.
that-
Especially if you,
it's just called a group consciousness. Somebody's there. Like, for example, it's a thing at LSU medical school that all first years need to go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting.
Yep.
And sometimes they show up at a closed meeting, and somebody. And anyway, it can be open.
right. They ask them what they're doing
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
and exactly. But the vast majority of meetings, and you can go online and find out the AA meetings that are in the community. Just go to AA, Google AA, and I promise you it'll come up. Doing a little search, you can get to the schedule of meetings. There are meetings every single day of the week.
Morning, noon, and night.
Absolutely. And you don't even have to stop drinking to show up.
Well, no,
You know,
just
you may, you may want to, but you don't have to, just come as you are.
yeah.
And come as you are and be ready to
Well, there are people
listen and
that aren't
learn.
addicts or alcoholics that go to AA meetings just
Absolutely.
because there's curiosity,
Absolutely.
like in your case.
Right.
I have never been, more often than not, I've been to many AA and Al-Anon meetings through the years, more often than not to accompany someone that I was encouraging to go. I've never been to one single meeting that I didn't walk out and say, man, I'm glad I was at that meeting and I learned something about myself.
I've heard
in
that said
meeting.
before.
And it's that, quite frankly,
But that I think,
surprised me.
I think that's the elegance of the program, though, right? I mean, the whole idea is it's the combination of what Jay was saying, that power of the group,
Yes.
but also the elegance of the program, which encourages you to
And
look at
rigorous
yourself.
honesty. How many places can you go and hear a group of folks totally
Get honest.
be honest?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
We're talking about recovery today, and how many aspects of recovery. It's important for all of us to understand whether we have an issue or not. I guarantee you, there's somebody in your life,
You're
in your
affected
life
by it.
that has an issue.
Odds are good.
Yeah, talking about it today on strategies for living. We'll be right back.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies Strategies for living radio.
And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. You know, we always have such good conversations when Jay Murrell shows up to the table.
Well, I say the same thing about y'all. I mean, David, 33, going on 34 years, you kind of got a flow down, okay?
I'll never forget when I took the idea of the program to Leanne, who was at that time general manager of Keel. And Keel was just starting to convert to
Talk radio. She even gave me a show, David. Imagine that.
Amazing, huh? Yeah. So one of the first questions, I don't know if Leanne asked you this question, but the question she asked me was, I need you on for at least a year. Do you have a year's worth of programs, you know, that you can bring? Because I really need you on at least a year. And I had to, I didn't know. I mean, I had no idea. So I stopped and I thought about it a bit. And I said, yeah, I can probably do 2 years. I didn't know then. I didn't know then what I know now is that with human behavior and emotions and feelings and thinking, we will never, ever run out of issues and problems.
Agreed.
It's part of our growth, right?
That's exactly right.
Part of living.
All right, so we've already touched on the fact we're touching on all of the aspects, different aspects of recovery, and we're not going to cover all of them today. We're just barely scratching the surface. But another issue, and it's kind of more on the unresolved pain thing. There's a lot of untreated trauma in the world, isn't there? Yep.
Both big T and little t.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you mean when you say big T, little t?
So the big T is the stuff we usually think about, right? The big in-your-face abuse or neglect.
Yeah. Were you sexually abused
right.
by a family
Physically
member or
assaulted
member
or,
of the clergy or something like that?
Right.
Yeah, big stuff.
The big T that most people consider quote-unquote trauma.
Yeah, or was your family in a terrible accident when
right.
you were 4 years old and you still remember
right.
that? Right. That's big T.
That's big T. And the little t is the stuff we don't often consider trauma, but it is. And so it's the little things that you just weren't prepared to handle, right?
Yep.
So it could be anything that overwhelmed you, anything that you felt like you had to carry alone, anything you didn't have support in processing.
Yep.
And sometimes, and this is what people often miss, we often think of trauma as what happened to us. Sometimes trauma is what didn't happen for us, right?
Flesh that out for me. I'm slow.
That's okay.
So, we often think of trauma as what if you were abused, something happened to you, but we often forget about the neglect part of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like even what we were talking about earlier in terms of the emotional processing, if you didn't have a caregiver who was able to attune to you and understand what you were going through emotionally and
guide you.
Reflect that back to you and guide
guide
and support
you
through. Here's what we can do with this. That's a form of little t trauma.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because you were neglected on an emotional level.
Mama forgot to come pick me up
Yeah.
at the Princess Park.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's little t trauma.
Yeah.
I've got a client who, when he was 10, he was going to school and he got kept after school because he didn't turn something in. He called his mother and she said, well, you walk home. Well, walking home was through kind of a rough area and down a busy street. And this guy is 70.
Yeah.
And he still remembers
Still
that.
packs that.
It's a wound.
That trauma. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's anything we weren't prepared to handle.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying that, we're all victims. All God's children got trauma. Right. I mean, I think that's part of living and learning.
Some
and
of
growing.
us deal with it better than others.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's about all of living is about learning, okay, how can I want to say remember my trauma?
Yeah.
How can I rewrite that? How can I remember in terms of how can I look back on that and make that a member, bring that integrate that into my story and make that part of.
So it doesn't hurt.
So it doesn't hurt and it makes me whole.
Yeah.
It makes me more whole.
Yeah. That's your job.
Yeah.
as a therapist, right?
Yeah, well, that's our job as people, I think.
Yeah, well,
But
Yeah.
that's my
Okay.
job as a therapist to help guide you there.
yeah, that's that. Yeah,
I
help
gotcha.
guide you through.
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all's job is to hold space
yeah.
and to guide people toward
That's
confronting
It's-
the issues that what you might ask yourself, what overwhelms me?
Mm-hmm.
What in my life when I look back do I feel like I carried alone? What we never had, we don't feel like we had support processing, fill in the blank. All of that will point you to, it could be big T, it could be little t.
right.
And there's
And
no
we-
one size fits all, because it's how much it
And-
affects you today.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We've also got the new term, right? Complex, right? Complex PTSD.
Yeah. Okay,
which-
so let's give an example of that, because one of the things we do on strategies,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, is we unpack the big psychological terms. So complex trauma, how is that different from the big T or the little T trauma?
it's something that happens over and over and over again.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
repeated.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't know, perhaps one of your guardians criticized you in a particular area as
Right,
a kid.
right.
Right. And that really traumatized you in some way. You felt like you weren't good enough.
Right.
So then later when you're applying for colleges, you get rejected and you hear you get that same rejection. That's a repeated of the same trauma.
Right.
And then it happens again later, perhaps when you're in a relationship, right? And you have that same layering of trauma.
Right.
So oftentimes it's about peeling back those layers and saying, okay, where was the original wound? And how does this all thread together in my story? And what does it have to offer me
Yeah.
learning wise, right?
We don't have long left, under about a minute and a half. But how much does shame play a role in keeping people stuck?
Well, with addicts, it's a ton, and we talked about the fourth and fifth step last 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah. when
And
you were
so
here.
the fourth, fifth step are easy for me to say, mechanisms by which one can relieve themselves of all that shame and
Yeah.
guilt.
Yes.
Because shame's different from guilt, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Shame says I am something wrong. Guilt can be healthy or it can be unhealthy.
Yeah.
Healthy guilt is I do something to you, Jay, and I feel bad about it, and so I seek to make some kind of
Yeah.
reparation, even if it's a Jay, I'm sorry. I screwed
Shame
up.
is destructive.
Yeah. Unhealthy guilt would be if I tell myself I've done something and
I'm a bad person.
Yeah,
I'm
and
awful. I'm
then-
Lord and Whale.
No, I mean that's unhealthy guilt.
And to tie back to something you said earlier, Jay, I think shame is at the root of addiction, but it's also at the root of every role in that family system. Each person who plays a role in that has some form of shame
Yeah.
that's running the show.
There he goes again.
Yeah.
Tickling the ivies. He's
I know.
here.
I'm
He's-
pretty good
he's
now.
here.
I've been practicing.
Yeah,
How long have you been playing, Jay?
Look at the
About 20
You see what
minutes.
he's got on the piano? He's got that candelabra up
Yeah,
on the
you know.
piano too.
I love
a
radio.
Liberace.
Yeah. Wait, one went out.
Well, there you go. We're we got way more to talk. We've made some inroads today, but we've got more, and so stay tuned for that. More to come here on Strategies for Living. And back to Strategies for Living. Lauren, Leon McMillian, Jay Murrell, David McMillian, talking about some aspects of recovery today that are important for us to understand. We just barely scratched the surface, so we'll do more with this. We'll do more with this in coming weeks. But let me ask both of you today, because both of you are very smart. And what's the takeaway? What do you want people to really take away from what we've talked about today?
I just think, I guess the main takeaway point is that addiction isn't just something, it's not just a stop, and it's not just a one size fits all. It's about a rediscovery process, getting curious, right? And being humble enough to get curious and to weave those pieces together to understand what caused me to dislike myself enough, and what am I avoiding?
That I hurt myself this
that
bad.
I hurt myself this badly,
Yeah.
and what am I avoiding feeling under there, and how can I feel it?
Yeah.
Because you got to feel it in order to heal
Yeah,
it.
being willing to move into the steps you need to take so that you can feel it, deal with it, and
Yep.
move on, and on a daily basis
And ongoing.
and ongoing, keep your side of the street clean,
I love it.
and do the next right thing.
Yep.
And be a good man or a good woman.
Yep.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. All those trite sayings, right?
Yeah,
Keep coming back.
it works if you work it.
We could go on and
I
on.
know.
Got a million
There's
of
a
them.
million of them.
Do
Yeah.
a whole show of them, right?
Folks, thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living. We appreciate you, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing,
Roof.
Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, and Pretty Good Muffies, too. SRT, Sales Training, Uprising, Addiction Center, and Mira, Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Jay Murrell, for Lauren Leon McMillian, I'm David McMillian. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.